so welcome back. For those of you who do not follow me on Instagram, I did a poll a couple of days ago asking if anybody would be interested to hear like my story, like diagnosis, getting a service dog, things that I have been diagnosed with, you know, stuff like that. I'm gonna start this video off by saying this is really difficult for me to talk about. Sorry about the licking. Benelli's like in the background, like chewing on a toy because we're trying to get her to chill. This is really difficult for me to talk about. It's kind of touchy. But I do want to go ahead and start this whole thing off with a trigger warning. I'm going to put the things out there that I kind of talk about. Some things I go into more detail in than others. If anything that I'm trigger warning right now sticks out to you of like, oh, I can't hear that, I will try my best to trigger warn before I start talking about these things. But I feel like just getting all of the trigger warnings out here in the beginning is going to be what's easiest for me to just tell my story, like, and flow it, without having to, like, think about that stuff. So, we are going to trigger warn now. Talks of suicide, talks of attempts of suicide, death, death of a family member, accidents, like car accidents, stuff like that, abuse, animal abuse. Those are really the main ones that I can think of right now. But I'm gonna go ahead and trigger warn with those. It's definitely the, like, violence, guns, that kind of stuff, does get brought up, that put me to the place that I am today. I've been through lots of things that most people, when they hear some of the things that I've been through, they really don't believe it. I try really, really hard to have a positive outlook on life. I try to be positive towards everyone. There's not much that you can say that makes me go, that's really triggering. Let's not talk about that. Just because I've seen and I've been through so much in my 24 years that, there's not a lot that can bother me. Like, obviously some things will bring memories back. I get flashbacks really, really bad. But most of the time it's not something that I can't work through on my own. It's not something that bothers me super much, but I wanted to go ahead and get those trigger warnings out there. That way, if that's something that you guys just like literally cannot handle, I'd say just go ahead and click it off now. And then I don't expect to get many views past this point. I totally understand if, you know, you have those triggers and everything. I am not judging. I am not trying to make it seem like just because of that, like, that's not me. So we're gonna go ahead and start. Like I said, this is gonna be like a whole just like timeline of like things that started and gradually just worked me towards diagnosis, a few of the things that I've been through in my life, just that kind of stuff, all the way up into diagnosis, getting the treatment option of a service dog, and then I'll go through all of the things that I've done to get to the point where I am today. So this is pretty much just going to be a timeline. We're going to start in 2014. And then I'm just going to continue from like 2014 to now, which is obviously 6 years. So this is going to be a very, very long video. Ridiculously long. it's tough. It's gonna be, this is definitely a tough video for me to make. But I feel like, honestly, me posting this might help somebody else. I feel like somebody might be like, wow, I had like almost the same thing happen to me. You know what? If you're ever feeling like you need someone to talk to, if you need someone to turn to, if you need someone to message me. I literally will never bash you. I will never talk down to you. I am an incredibly understanding person, and I try to be the nicest person that I can be on a day-to-day basis. So on that note, I'm going to get started with the event that set off in 2014. Obviously, I had more traumas before this. I had been through a lot more really, really bad things before this point. Yeah, it was not like a boom, there it goes, 2014, that's what happened, and that's what set it all off. Obviously, I had been through some traumas as a child that really won't get into. Some of the things that happened to me as a kid were very scary. Some things before this point were super scary. I just think that 2014 is what set me up to officially get to my diagnosis point. But obviously before 2014, I had been through some traumas talking to my therapist. My therapist determined that I had been through some crap in my life. So yeah. Okay, so the event that really set all of this into motion, it was March 12th of 2014. I grew up always being told that I would never be enough. I grew up consistently being told that overweight was so unattractive and that I would never find someone. I would never be a productive member of society because I wasn't pretty. And I just grew up with that for a good bit. Yeah, it was hard. It was really hard. I struggled for a long time with self-image. I struggled for a long time with a lot of things. So 2014, I turned 18, but I was still 17 at this point. 17 years old, I had one member of my family who I'm going to try not to cry because it's a really hard story. Probably the hardest of all of the stories that I will tell on this video. If I do start to get to the point where like I can't talk and I'm crying, I'm going to pause the video. So if it seems like kind of chopped up, just understand that like I got to the point where I needed to take a second to cry. I had one member of my family. She's my aunt. As a kid, my mom worked multiple jobs. So I kind of was pawned off on a lot of my family. And I really felt like the only family member who could handle me, because I've always been an incredibly loud person. Like even as a child, like I've always been loud. It's not anything that I can help. I've always been this way. Like I try so hard, like to control it and like not be that way. But honestly, it's just a characteristic of who I am. And I don't feel that that is something that needs to change. But I've always been like a really loud, like talk with my arms, like eccentric person. I've always been that person. And so not a lot of my family could handle me. Well, my mom worked multiple jobs when I was a kid. I think at one point she may have even had 3 jobs. I'm not really 100% sure, but it felt like that. So a lot of the times my mom was like sending me to be with my family so that she could work her jobs. So I ended up out at my aunt's house a lot. I was out there all the time. That was literally pretty much like my second home. Like I stayed with my mom, obviously. My parents were divorced when I was 4. My parents got divorced. So I would go see my dad every now and again. Like, it was one of those, like, every other weekend. So, like, I would be at my mom's for, like, 2 weeks straight through the weekend, and then I'd be with my dad for, like, 2 days. And then, like, I'd be with my mom 2 weeks straight through that weekend, and then at my dad's again the weekend after that. So I spent a lot of time with my aunt as a kid. My mom got a job as a teacher, and then that's when I kind of started, like, kindergarten and stuff like that. So my mom's been a teacher for a very, very long time. She got a job as a teacher, like, at an actual school. So, when it came to, like, kindergarten and stuff like that, she actually got put on the same schedule. But up until this point, like, I was literally with my aunt all the time. Even, like, on the weekends and stuff, I was with my aunt a lot. Like, I spent a lot of time out there. My aunt is really the one who set my life and my love for animals. She very much loved her animals. She taught me all about them. We had dogs, cats, ducks, donkeys, chickens. We had so many animals, and she really set, like, my bar and my love for my animals. Like, I don't think that I would have ever liked animals as much as I did if it wasn't for my aunt. My aunt had a heart of gold. Most pure person. She never met a stranger. Everybody was her friend. Everybody knew who she was. When I was about 8, my aunt got diagnosed with kidney failure due to diabetes. She then started dialysis. Sorry, guys, I take these long pauses. Like, this is my hardest story probably of all of them. My aunt had my back. My aunt had my back through everything. All of the harsh words. All of the people who bullied me in school. All of the people who told me I would never be good enough. Honestly, if there's one thing that upsets me, it's being told that I would never be enough. That hurts. That hurts me really bad. And it always has. The only person who really had my back through those situations was my aunt. She stood up for me. She told me that I was perfect. That no matter what anybody said, I would always be enough in her eyes. That I was kind. I was a good person. And she really set the bar for that. I'm sorry, I'm gonna dry my eyes. So, in March of 2014, I felt like I had been sleeping a little later than I should have been. And my mom came into the room, and now typically I have to be up by like 8:20 to go to school. I was going through a really, really rough time. I didn't have very many friends through my schooling. It was incredibly difficult for me to make friends just because, as I said, I'm a loud person. I'm a boisterous, I think is the word that I'm looking for. Like, I am a person that's definitely, like, out there. Like, when you meet me, once I'm comfortable with you, like, I am definitely one of those, like, out there friends. So I didn't have a lot of friends. I really didn't. There were not a lot of people who liked spending time with me just because the biggest thing that I got was I was too much. I was too much for them to be friends with me. So at about 9:30, to continue everything that happened with my aunt. So when my aunt got diagnosed with kidney failure, she went on dialysis. I went to many, many dialysis appointments with her. And she struggled for a really long time. But she never once let on to how sick she actually was. anyone that knew her, like I did, like she was dying. Like everybody knew it. Everybody who spent time with her and was there, they knew that she was in pain. And they knew that she was hurting. But like when she was in public and when she was around people, like her friends and most of the family, like happy days, like holidays, she never really let on to how sick she was. In 2012, actually, my mom wrote my aunt a poem. At this point, the doctor was telling her, you know, you've only got a few more kidney, you know, dialysis appointments, and that's going to be the end of your ropes. The doctors were telling her that her poisoning was getting too high, that even the dialysis machines couldn't filter everything out, that no length of time that she was on the machines was going to work, and that she was hitting the end of her ropes. So she finally decided to tell everyone in the family what was going on. My mom made the decision to donate her the kidney that she needed, which was a huge thing. We knew that at that point, my aunt could live a super happy life, that everything would be awesome, and that everything was going to be great. So they went through with the kidney transplant. The kidney transplant happened, and she was in the best health that she's probably ever been in her life. She was so healthy and so happy, and everybody was so excited because we were all like, yay, she's great. She's doing awesome. She's awesome. So March comes around of 2014. They did the transplant, and I believe like it was either June, maybe it was 2000, I don't know. I think I was just starting high school, so it might have actually been like 2010. Maybe I've got my years mixed up. I believe it was when I was starting high school, that they did the kidney transplant, but she had the kidney and she was doing really, really good. In March, it was the 12th of 2014. I felt like I had been oversleeping, but at that point, I was still, you know, I was a senior in high school. All I cared about was going out and partying, and just that was all that I cared about in high school. I wanted to make friends, and I was on the verge of struggling with alcoholism. I really was at 17 years old. It was really, really difficult for me to go through. My mom walked into my room at around 9:30 on March 12th. And she started rubbing my back. And I knew that something was wrong because my mom never did that. My mom never came in. My mom never rubbed my back. Typically, we fought in the mornings when it was time for me to get up, so I knew that something was wrong. So I woke up and I rolled over. And she's like, I need to tell you something. Sorry, guys. I need to tell you something. And I said, okay, what's wrong? Because I could tell that she had been crying. That something was really wrong because she was crying. And she said, I received a call from Neva this morning. And the first thought that goes through my mind is, oh my God, something happened to one of my dogs. Something happened to my donkeys. Something happened to my cats. Like, she's gonna tell me one of my animals is gone. And she said, your Aunt Allison passed away last night. I immediately lost it. I laid in bed. I cried all day. We had to go out and deal with everything out at her house. I immediately looked at my mom and I said, I need to go to school. And my mom was like, you're not going to school. We all know how hard this is for you. Because my aunt was like my second mom. She helped raise me. She helped me become the person that I am today. I wouldn't be who I am without her. So after this happened, I went into a severe depression. Like severe. Like, it was really bad. My struggling with alcohol turned into, that's what I needed. I couldn't go a day. I needed a drink. I struggled so hard with alcohol. And losing her, I stopped going to school. I did not go to school for about a month. And then one day, my mom walked into the room and she goes, I understand that things are hard for you right now, but you're now at the point where the sheriff's office is going to show up and take you to school. You're not going to have an option. So I really need you, even if you only get through like 2 or 3 classes, I really need you to go to school today. I showed up back at school to find that everybody had started rumors that, like, maybe I was dead. Like, nobody knew what happened. Like, nobody knew. I just disappeared. Pretty much off the face of the planet. We did her burial, which again sent me back into even further of a depression. I struggled really, really hard with this, and I still, obviously, as you can see, struggle with it to this day. It is just very hard. March 12th is one of the most difficult days of my life. It just is. So I actually ended up spiraling out of control, and I didn't care about anything. I cared about nothing. I didn't care about my health. I didn't care about school. I didn't care about friends. I didn't care about anything, even the few friends that I had at that point. Didn't care. So I had probably about, I would say it was close to a 3.0, 4.0 GPA. I had a really high GPA. I'm a very smart person, but it's so difficult for me that sometimes I don't seem it, but I promise you I'm actually really smart. So my depression really got the better of me in all of this situation. And my GPA dropped to a 0.28. For those of you who don't know about the GPA scale, a 4.0 is straight A's, 100% is the highest you can get. A 0.28, I had all F's. I was making probably about 15 to 20% in all of my classes. I was failing everything because I had been gone from school for a month and I didn't care about homework. I didn't care about schoolwork. I didn't care about anything. I was done. I did not care. I gave up. I gave up. So I went back to school that first day and didn't say anything to anybody, just kind of sat to myself, and just sat through the school day. I didn't really talk to anybody. I didn't really say anything. I didn't really care. I didn't care. So I end up getting called into the principal's office, and she pretty much pulled me in and was like, look, you are on track. You are going to graduate. Like, you were going to make it. You were going to walk across that stage. You were going to get your diploma, and now you're failing everything. What happened? And I just looked at her and I said, I lost the most important person to me in my life. At that point, my aunt was everything. My rock, my solid, had my back no matter what. She was my everything. I said, I lost my everything. My aunt passed away. And I'm not doing too well. And she said, well, you know what? I know that life sucks right now. And I know how hard that is. And I'm so sorry that you're having to go through this. But this is not going to be the reason that you don't walk across my stage and graduate, because you deserve it. You've worked so hard to get yourself where you are. You're going to walk across that stage and you're going to graduate, and let's see what we can do to get that to happen. So she ended up pulling me into the office that day, like I said, and told me all of that. And she goes, well, from this point forward, you're going to come in here early every morning, and you're going to sit with me, and we're going to work on schoolwork together. You're going to catch yourself back up. You're going to get yourself back to where you were. And I was like, I mean, I really don't see this happening, but okay. So I did. I buckled down, and I put my mind to it, and I ended up passing all of my classes. I walked across the stage with a 3.28 GPA. I busted my butt for 2 weeks, and I walked across the stage and I received my diploma. No issues. I ended up actually failing a class. So I did have to retake that class. Now, they told me that retaking the class typically takes like 2-3 weeks, but most people have, like, it's 6 weeks for them to take it. I busted this class out in 3 days and made a C. Actually, I think it was a B. I think I might have made a B. But a class that takes most people 2 to 3 weeks, I did it in 3 days. I went in, I didn't mess around, I took all my tests, I read all my material, and I passed it. And so that is what determined me to be able to actually walk across the stage and receive my diploma that day. It was hard senior year.